What's going on, everybody? It's Sasha, your licensed real estate market expert here in Charlotte, and it is our last monthly market report of the year. Now, because we do these numbers in arrears, we're going over the numbers from November, and in January, we're going to have the numbers for December. But I'll tell you right now, in regards to some of the main data, especially pending sales, which were up almost 25% in the month of November, it sounds like a lot of people are catching on to the fact that historically, the best deals in regards to real estate, in regards to the houses, usually start September, October, up until about February. But now that people are starting to catch on, I'm kind of curious what effect that is going to take in regards to the spring and summer markets. So typically May, June, and July is the time when houses are priced the highest. That's when you see the average sales price and the median sales price usually kind of hit their peaks. So it's very interesting how now that a lot more people are starting to look in kind of that buying season, I'm wondering if it's going to affect the spring and summer market. But we got a lot to talk about in regards to the data. Unfortunately, I don't have the best news for you in regards to prices. We are down from our all-time highs, but again, you just need to be niched down to specific areas and specific neighborhoods when it comes to these numbers. It's not a one number fits all type of deal. Now, something that I'm starting to see, and which is very strange, is I just saw a Zillow commercial, and I'm going to post it right here so you guys can watch it. In this commercial, it's essentially three ladies living in a house together, and then it shows this person has a buying power of 120,000, this one has 100,000, this one has another 100,000, which is essentially showing people and or maybe even telling people that, hey, if you can't afford to buy a house with these current prices, with the current interest rates, maybe you should get 2 or 3 of your friends and you guys can all buy a house to live together. That can definitely get very messy, but I'm just shocked at seeing a commercial like this because it's sad what happened to the housing market. We've never seen anything like this before, and now you have Zillow, essentially one of the biggest, real estate companies, whatever you want to call them, search platforms for real estate, kind of advertising this and giving people ideas to start doing this. So it's just interesting that we're at a time like this where this might become the new norm. It might become the new common. And I'll tell you right now, in places like Seattle and places like California, there's a lot of laws passing for detached additional dwelling units or detached accessory dwelling units to make housing more affordable, which is essentially saying, hey, if you have a big lot, you can build a detached additional dwelling unit of 1,000 square feet and rent it out. And in some states, you can actually have a separate deed to that dwelling unit and sell it. So a lot of different states and a lot of different places are trying to make things possible for people to afford houses or to make that dream of owning a home a reality. Not even 12 hours later, the next morning, I see an article in regards to Charlotte. The article said that 25% of the Charlotte-Mecklenburg schools teachers have a roommate, a relative, or they live with a friend. And they're also talking about now trying to essentially have some type of program where they can build a 100-unit kind of complex that's specifically designed for teachers, so our teachers here in Charlotte could afford a place to live. These teachers went to college, they have a career, and they can't even afford to buy a house. Now listen, I'm not here to be doom and gloom or anything like that. I just feel for a lot of people. My personal experience, before I was a realtor, I was a paramedic. And up until about 2021, I was helping a lot of my paramedic friends. I was helping a lot of firefighters, first responders buy houses. From 21 up until now, that has completely died out unless they're moving to Pageland, South Carolina, unless they're moving roughly about an hour out from Charlotte. So we can see the affordability is just not there. It hasn't been there for quite a while. It is there in specific areas and knowing where to look. And if you're somebody that's okay with renovating, that is a really, really good option because there are a lot of good deals out here to be found. Now, for some of my doom and gloomers out there that think real estate is going to crash by 30, 40, 50%, listen, guys, based off the data, based off everything I'm seeing, we don't see that at all. I used to think maybe about 2 years ago that it's possible to see a 15 to 20% price correction from our all-time highs. Now I'm seeing closer to 10% being the possibility. And now with the election over, there's so much more optimism in regards to the economy and in regards to the housing. There's a lot of people online, there's a lot of people I know that are a lot smarter than I am that have been in real estate for 20 plus years. Some of them are actually saying that we're in the middle of the quote unquote downturn right now and have been in the last year. That could be a scary thought. I'm curious. Let me know what you guys think in the comments about that. But with that being said, in regards to the election optimism, small business optimism has jumped to the highest level that we've seen in almost 45 years, since 1980. So a lot of small businesses and things like that are seeing a lot of upside after the election results, and a lot of economists are saying there's going to be a lot of better outlook now with the new party in office. With a couple of those things out the way, right now what I'm seeing in the market is more days on market. It's a hit or miss what is coming on the market. One house comes up, sells within the first 2 weeks. Another house pops up, it sells for a couple months. Sellers, for the most part, are starting to get a little bit more realistic, but then you do have some outliers that are still listing for obscene prices. And typically, those are the ones that are sitting on the market for 90 plus days. Now, with that being said, I'm also seeing multiple offers happening. The houses, believe it or not, that are roughly 800, 900 plus, I've seen a couple 100,000 over asking offers, which a lot of people thought was gone. We're no longer going to see that, but it's still happening for some of these unique properties. If you're someone looking for a newer construction home in master plan communities and things like that, typically I don't recommend doing all the above asking prices because more often than not, you're going to find a similar home, similar floor plan, even in the same neighborhood, pop up in the next couple of weeks. Now, for houses that are a lot more unique, when you're looking at areas like Plaza Midwood, Myers Park, South Park, certain areas in Huntersville, in Mooresville, in Lake Norman, if you find a unique home there and your plan is to live there for 5 plus years, hopefully even 10 to 15 plus years, you should be in good shape with doing over asking offers. But again, it varies from house to house. Now, with that out of the way, let's get into the actual numbers from the month of November. And I'm curious to what you guys think. Now, if you have any specific questions in regards to neighborhoods, zip codes, certain areas of Charlotte, even the housing market in general, you guys always know you can call, text, or email me anytime. All my contact information is right here and also linked down below. Now let's hop into the numbers and let's see what the market is doing. In regards to new listings, we had 3,800 new listings in the month of November, and that is a 7.3% increase from this time last year. As I've said before, new listings are starting to come on the market, and I think we're starting to build a base. However, some of the pre-pandemic numbers are already here, including months of inventory. Now, moving on to pending sales. This is where we had that huge jump that I was talking about earlier in the video. Pending sales came in at just under 2,000 home sales pending in the month of November. That is a 22.5% increase from this time last year. Take a look at the last 2 years in the month of November. 40.2% decline in pending sales in 2022, and in 2023 a 0.4% decline, and we had a massive jump of 22.5%. A lot of people are jumping on that bandwagon of finding good deals, less competition in the market in the month of November. Next up, we have days on market, which came in at 45, and that is a 36.4% increase from this time last year. Even though houses are sitting for a lot longer, you can still see that they are still selling. So it's interesting because some of these stats don't make too much sense for me. Because when we go to the average sales price and the median sales price, you'll see we have changes from our all-time highs, but they're still relatively stable and in line with what we normally see. But typically, more days a house sits on the market, the more negotiable, the better prices you get. But prices are still holding on relatively strong. Now, on that topic of prices, the average sales price came in at $487,500. That is an 8.3% increase from this time last year. And guys, believe it or not, we are down 6.5% from our all-time high that we had in May, which was 522,000. So we are seeing changes in the market. Again, we are down 6.5% from our all-time highs, but again, we have that seasonality taking into effect. Median sales price came in at $392,000, and that is a 3.7% increase from this time last year. However, from our all-time high of 405, we're down just under 4% in regards to the median price point. And when you guys take a look at this graph, you can see Charlotte, the median prices have kind of steadily been going up, but for the last 2 to 3 years, the median price point has been relatively stable. So as long as the median price point is staying stable, you can expect the average price point to kind of follow in that same trajectory. I like looking at the median price point because these are kind of your first-time home buyers. These are kind of your starter homes, your standard 3-bedroom, 2-bath home. So if the median price point stays relatively stable, you could expect a lot of the other stats to follow. Now, this next stat is very interesting, and it's right in line with what we saw in 2017, 2018, and 2019. That is the percentage of the original list price received. It came in at 95.7. That is a 1.2% decline from this time last year. Now, essentially, this stat is telling you on average, you could expect to pay 4.3% below the listed price of a home when it is closed. That could include negotiating concessions for a house. It could be negotiating seller down payments, and or it could include the price. We're seeing a lot more of this. I recently had a listing appointment, and on average for this specific neighborhood, it was around 2 to 3% below the listed price of what houses were selling for. So every neighborhood is different, but for some of you that are looking for pre-pandemic numbers, like I said, I don't see it happening in regards to pricing, but things like the average list price and how negotiable things are, we're definitely seeing that being at pre-pandemic levels. Next up is months of inventory, which is one of the biggest hurdles that we have been having for a very long time. One of the biggest reasons the house prices are high up because there's still high demand for the real estate here in the Charlotte area. And again, Charlotte is an inbound state. We have more people moving to the Charlotte area and North Carolina than people that are leaving Charlotte and North Carolina. Months of inventory came in at 2.6. That is a 23.8% increase from this time last year. So guys, we have almost a fourth more inventory in the month of November that we had last year, which is a good sign. And again, we're starting to build that base, but to really start to see relief and pressure of the prices to come down, this is going to need to be at 4+ months of inventory at minimum. So we do have a long way to go. A recent thing came out not too long ago that said the magic number for interest rates is 5.5%. At 5.5%, a lot of buyers will re-enter into the market, and a lot of sellers will start to list their houses because they can sell their house and then they can buy something else at that mid 5% interest rate level. We are essentially battling the same things that we have, and like I said before, I thought the prices, I could see them coming down 15 to 20%. With everything we have going on with the outlook in the economy and what the economists are saying and things like that, 10% price reductions from our all-time highs. On the very high end, maybe 15%. Average sales price is already down 6.5, so we could be creeping up towards that 10. But I'm telling you, if you stay prepared, if you know where to look in the right places, know how to find some of these deals, you could already find houses that are discounted by 10 to 15% right now in this market, even though the data suggests that it's very hard and you can't do so. I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I'll catch you on the next one. Take care. Bye.